Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Chats with Chantla. I am so excited to be back. I have missed you all. So, we are in a new location. So, if anyone follows me on Facebook, you saw that I am a homeowner. So, we're at a new location. So, you may hear some things in the background. So, that's a little disclaimer because there is a contractor here doing some upgrades. But we have a phenomenal show ahead of you with the amazing Nichole Brown, also known as Tech Nichole. And she's going to talk to us about her entrepreneurship and her journey into branding and also web design. And I cannot wait for you guys to hear. So welcome to the show, Nichole. How are you doing this evening?
Hi, Chantla. I'm great. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting and this is awesome. But I'm doing great. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you said yes. I feel like
How
it's
can I say no?
Thank you. I feel like it's a complete restart because I have not had chats with Chantla for the last few weeks. And so the reason why, everyone, you saw that I'm a homeowner, and so we're in a new location. But this conversation that we're about to have with Nichole tonight is going to be so inspiring because she actually works in a male-dominated field. And how she got here is going to really inspire you. You don't have to want the same profession or journey of entrepreneurship to be inspired by her story. So I think it's just so captivating. It's inspiring. It's motivating. It gives you a little bit of fire underneath you. So Nichole, I'm so happy to have you here. You look absolutely gorgeous. I just adore you in so many ways and for so many reasons. So I know so many people ready to have this conversation with you. And though, if you as a viewer have any questions for our featured entrepreneur, make sure you put them in the comments and I will ask Nichole on your behalf. But good evening, Netta. Thank you so much for joining. So you're joining and you're going to learn more about our featured entrepreneur. But Nichole, why do you do what you
do? There's 100 million reasons. But ultimately, the web is like, it's the whole world right at one click. So that right there was enough for me to be able to reach so many people with what you have to offer in a matter of milliseconds, a click.
Right.
It's just that thought alone in itself is enough. And then you get into the creative side and your purpose and your why and all that good stuff. But just it's fascinating to just see how technology has evolved and to be a part of that.
Absolutely. And so in the beginning of your journey to become an entrepreneur, what motivated you to keep going? Because so many people get tired, get worn down because no one's pushing you. You have to do this on your own. So like what motivated you to become an entrepreneur?
Losing a job.
You can relate.
Yes. So it's so funny. I always thought that I never had thoughts of being an entrepreneur. I think what I always thought was I'm not a salesman, but in actuality, I was selling things every day. At work, I had to, sell my thoughts, my ideas, my opinions, down to is it a fit, as even so as serious as that, even down to like where we're gonna have a Christmas party. I had to sell things every day. I had to sell my perspective. So when I lost my job, I had already started learning how to code at Unlock Academy. Shout out Antoine Digital. And I lost my job. I was like, wait a minute, instead of panicking, I have a skill that I'm able to monetize. It's something I love. I have this skill and I'm going to give it a shot. And it's been history and then on. But just knowing that I had a skill that I could monetize, it's something I enjoyed doing, and I was out of a job. I had to give it a shot.
That is so many stories for a lot of people that maybe like having something taken away allows you to see all the gifts that you have inside of you, because a lot of times we're just distracted by all the other things that are happening that we don't really focus on ourselves. We focus on being busy for other people, but not really, concentrating on the gifts so that we can increase other people by what we own. So I love that, nobody wants to lose a job, but I'm so glad that it catapulted you and projected you into the realm of web design and branding. So we have some people supporting you tonight, Nichole, as well as myself. We have Jeff Thank you so much. And Montel saying, welcome back. I have missed you all. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Chats with Chantla, and thank you for your support. So we're going to continue this conversation with our featured entrepreneur, Nichole Brown, also known as Tech_Nichole. So you can find her on Instagram and find out a little bit more about what she's doing. And she has the best posts. Like, she's the best daily post, in my opinion. Like, I love to see what you're posting. It's so creative and it's so techy, but with this really great feminine like touch to it that's really encouraging. But it's for everybody. It's just really hits home for me. So thank you for continuing to inspire me through your posts. But what has been your key responsibilities as a web designer? So what are the key things that you do?
I think first and foremost to deliver a website that your client is able to that produce conversions. But there's so many different moving parts. You know, you want to guide them through the process. You're the expert, so it's not about so much what you like, you know, as opposed to what your audience appreciates, what's for them, because what you like may not be what is attractive to the audience. So you have to be able to guide through that, helping the client to present online in an honest and true manner that's true to their voice, true to their brand. So I think that's key, just kind of guiding through that process and all the other moving parts that come along with it.
Okay. So what specifically drew you or appeals to you in web design?
It's limitless. It's you can go from like static design, which is just nice shapes, colors, palettes, to motion graphics, motion design. I mean, it goes from one end of the spectrum. There's no limit. If you can imagine it, it can be done. That's first and foremost. Technology is improving. It's moving fast every day. There's no end in sight that I can see of. I know nothing's new under the sun, but creativity is limitless.
Wonderful. And I can tell how creative, and I've seen you from the beginning to now, and I've seen the progression and growth that you've cultivated through Unlock Academy. Again, shout out to Unlock Academy. Join the tribe. If you don't know anything about them, make sure you do. They have such a powerful tech company or firm. So don't worry, they're going to be on Chats with Chantla as well. But make sure you learn more. But as you learn more about Nichole, tell me about a time where, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we always are ready for the positives and all the great comments and feedback. But tell me about a time that you may have received like harsh criticism from a client, and how did you handle it? Because this is a part of entrepreneurship.
Totally. It's such a huge difference from being an employee to being the employed. Like I am my own employee and I am my own employer. So, it's all on me. But going from being a surgical tech to a desk job, so to speak, and working from home is like night and day. So, just trying to get my eggs in the basket and, getting that process and the system down. And it was a little clunky. It was a little sloppy. And I was notified of that in a loving way. And instead of, the first thing you do is like, well, you have to examine yourself to stop and say, before you jump to, defend, you need to stop and examine yourself. And does this fit? And, if it does fit, then, adjust, course correct, and move on. But that was one thing, just like how long it took, which is, I think, being in the medical field, there's no room for mistakes. Like, you can't cut. That's just not an option. So that which I think I can be a little kinder with myself. And then learning to do so, I have, firmed up the process and let go of that perfection. Like, it doesn't have to be all together, all 100 all the time, first time out. So once I kind of let go of some of that, pulled it back, examined it, course corrected, it was fine. But just tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not the easiest thing to do. And I love how you transition from two opposite spectrums of like the workforce. You went from being in operating rooms to
Oh.
now being behind the computer. I mean, this is not a question that you were prepared for, but how has that like, what was that transition like? Because that's huge. It's a huge difference.
Yes, it's two totally different ends of the spectrum. I mean, and one, you have patients and the doctors and coworkers, and then over here, like you're by yourself. You have your client, but they're on the other side of the screen, but it's just me and this computer. I think although we had a process, a surgery, you do the same thing every day for the same uh surgery. The process is the same, it doesn't change, which is the same for this. It's like they were different, but the same. Whereas you do have to have a process, you have to have guidelines that you have to follow, but there's no one watching. It's just you.
Mhm.
There's no patience. There's no, we gotta hurry, we gotta go over here, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. It was a little difficult at first, I think, to be in one spot instead of over here and over there and over there and doing this and doing that. I kind of missed the multitask a little bit, but it's been interesting. I've learned a lot about myself and my toleration and
Yeah.
my tolerance level, imperfection, perfection, deadlines. Like I've learned like so much about all that stuff because they're all the same, but they're a little bit different.
Absolutely. And then it's probably helped prepare you in ways of making sure that you're ready, that you're thorough, that you keep the integrity of what you're doing even when no one's looking. So, even though it was the same consistent protocol or procedure for what you did in the operating room, it was saving life, by doing that. Or here, you're also increasing life, but it's in a different way because you're bringing a lot of people's ideas to life. And that's not the easiest thing to articulate from verbal to a web design. That's not the easiest thing. So there's a lot of different processes and procedures and steps that you have to go through. So I would say that your former employment helped you prepare you for your present in a lot of ways that allows you to be able to develop and cultivate and just, increase as you go along. So again, if you're just now tuning into Chats with Chantla, this is our welcome back episode. I haven't seen you guys for about 3 weeks. Sorry for the background noise. We have a contractor in our new home. So this is life. This is real. This is real and raw. But we have the amazing Nichole Brown, and she is also known as Tech Nichole, and she is sharing her journey of entrepreneurship and branding and web design. So she does brand and web design, and you definitely want to stay tuned and learn so much more about this amazing entrepreneur. So thank you so much, Tanya, for joining. I missed you as well. I hope you're enjoying Nichole as well as I am and learning a lot more about her journey into entrepreneurship. But Nichole, tell me some steps that you do take during your design process with your clients, and how much does it actually involve the clients that you work with?
Oh man, it's 100% of 100% involves a so first first we have to make sure that we're matched. So we will do a discovery call, kind of find out as much as I can about your business, help to get you to articulate, give me as many details as possible. Once we do that, find out that we're a fit. Now we need to go down the line of find your brand identity, who you are, how do you want to present to the world, how do you want to speak to the world, how do you want to show up to the world. And then you gather those elements together, which would be, from patterns, designs, textures, fonts, logos, graphics. You gather all those elements based on based on the information that I've collected, as far as how you want to present to the world. We package those nicely into a website. Basically, we make a long story short. But the steps are, it's very, I think before I really got into it, it's funny, hindsight is 2020. You see a website, you just like, oh, nice colors, nice logo,
Right.
nice fonts, but it's so much more. It's so much more. If you take yourself, for instance, like how your buying decisions, the things that, help you resonate, that make things that are top of mind. There's a reason why those things are top of mind. And that's, as a web designer, what I try to do is I would like my client to be top of mind. Their product, their service, with those elements, we pull those elements together based on our information. We want to put together something that makes you top of mind all the time in your arena.
I love that. I love the top of the mind, because I say that all the time. If you're at the top of someone's mind, you're at the tip of their tongue. So they'll always be talking about you. So I love it. And it's not something that actually I got. It either came from a book I read, Clarity Wins, or Contagious. So it may have been spoken in both, but that is what really keeps people coming back to you or learning about you as well. But what I love about web design is you're telling someone's story. Through a web design, you're telling about their brand, you're telling about their products, all like nonverbal. You're looking, it's very visual. And we're visual creatures. Like, at least for me, I won't even go into the store if the storefront doesn't look nice, unless I already have been frequenting the store a lot, so I know what's in there. But the storefront, that's why people spend so much time on the storefront, because you look at it and it captures you you want to go in. It's like a lure to go in to learn more about what the products are. And so the same thing about web design. If you have a chintzy, quote, junky website that's like, and you may have the best product.
Yeah.
But if your web design is like you're cutting corners, then people are not probably going to be attracted to it to even want to know more about the products you're providing, or the services you're giving out. And what you do is so beneficial to so many people. And I think those are the things that a lot of times we're not paying attention to, that we need to pay attention to. And that's why we need people like you, who is an expert in branding and web design. So I want to also ask you and keep this conversation going. And if any of the viewers have any comments or any questions for the featured entrepreneur, make sure you put it in the comment section, and I'll ask it on your behalf. But also, thank you so much for joining in on this Monday evening to learn more about Nichole Brown, also known as Tech Nichole, on here on Chats with Chantla. But Nichole, I want to ask you, how much do you incorporate like current design trends in your products, or in your projects?
I think it's definitely, I like trends. Trends are good, but trends are not evergreen. Trends come and go. So I think for me, I kind of look at it like, you want to try to create your own trend. Like, you want to stay on brand. You want to, have the new cool hot thing, but you also want to differentiate. You do want something that separates others. So I like, it is wise to incorporate trends, but you don't want to get too trendy. Like, what's something that I can think of? Remember when, I just showing my age, those little tiny pocketbooks that everyone used to carry, those little tiny. Then we went to really big. I guess now we're back to like, I don't know, the backpacks so you don't want to get too caught up in trends. Maybe kind of pull something from that, but put your own spin on it. But I personally try not to get too caught up in the trends. Try to create your own trend. Because trends do run out. Trends run out of gas. Right. Eventually, you don't want to be stuck with something that's no longer relevant. So
absolutely. And then sometimes when it's no longer relevant, it looks dated. It looks like outdated. It doesn't look current. And a lot of times that can also be unappealing to your potential customers or clients that you could be getting. But also, you probably get a lot of feedback from your clients. How do you integrate some feedback from your clients into your own designs?
That's super huge. I guess you have to find there's a thin line between, say you present something, we talk about it, we discuss it, I present the design to you for preview, and you do need to take everything they say and consider it. You are the expert, so you do, you're guiding them through this process. But the client's feedback is of major importance. But I like to examine that and see, is this going to work? Is this relevant? Everything is about the audience. Is this going to speak to them and represent you properly? So if it does that and it works, I'm with it. It's fine. But if it doesn't, I guess that's when you have to dig deep and, say, this may not work. Present maybe 2 examples, this is what I think, and then this is, what you suggested, and then we'll see how that works, how it fits. But it's got to fit. It's got to fit. Like, we
Absolutely.
all like what we like, but it has to work.
Understood. And that's why we come to you as the expert. Like, we want to make sure that we can get an idea. And when you were talking, what it made me think of is like how many times you would go to like the hair salon with a picture, and then they would say,
Totally.
that's not gonna happen, and not to be cruel, but like, okay, this is what I see, this is what you want, but this is what I can do, and this is what will look best for you. So it's that collaboration and being willing to compromise to get the best product. And so when you're thinking about design, and the different components of designing, what are some design components of an optimal design? Like, where it's like the best design that you could get? Like, what do you do? Like, what are those components consist of?
You definitely have to have some great graphics, a great color palette. Believe it or not, typography and the font you use is huge. Take, for example, a circus. Every time you see a circus, there's that certain font that lets you know, like, it's got that fun, that playful.
Right.
You wouldn't necessarily find that font on, say, like a funeral home. It just doesn't represent, it's already kind of has that connotation of fun, joyful, playful. So that's huge. Typography, some great graphics, your colors. SEO, totally. It's not really design, but it's of major importance, because without that, you can't be found on the search engine. You want to, some things like, you don't want to be too wordy. You want to have your paragraphs, your sentences structured in a way that's readable.
Right.
That's not too where you don't want people to get lost in the sauce of it. Nobody's going to read an autobiography. If they did, they'll
Absolutely.
go buy the book.
Right.
You don't want things popping out, all over the place. You just want nice, clean. I guess think of yourself as what I always like to refer back to is, how do I make my buying decisions? When I go to the website, if it's busy, if there's stuff popping and jumping out all over the place, I leave and I find something that feels more stable, more secure. So I try to ask clients, what helps you, what allows you to make your buying decisions? What do you find, like, when you go to a website, and we all know when you go to that website and it's like, and then you go to another one, what made you that website? Think about that. And some people may like that, but just think about, we say art does imitate life. So just think about, what elements do you not like that are from you purchasing from that or staying on the website. You can't make the purchase if you don't stay long enough.
Absolutely.
So you have like 6 to 10 seconds to catch somebody's attention. If you haven't convinced them by then you can kind of forget about it. It's on to the next.
I love that you said that, because a lot of times people think that it's just like, oh, my website is so pretty, that's what's going to get people captured. And I love that you said in 6 to 10 seconds, people are there and gone. And I think sometimes because no one's timing themselves, but that's the same, like if you're scrolling, like there's something that makes you stop and look at that on your timeline for social media platforms versus when you just keep scrolling and don't pay attention. Like, so what gets you? And you know what, as you're saying that, now it's going to make me be more aware of like what I'm stopping and looking at, because I never really looked at it that way. I never looked at like what catches my attention and then what doesn't. What makes me go ooh or cringe, or what makes me say, oh, not again, type of thing. So a lot of it is like you said, the web design, the colors. And I will tell you, there are fonts that just irritate the mess out of me. I don't even spend time reading it because I don't like the font. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. So I never really took into consideration like the aesthetics of web design that really makes it appealing to you or unappealing to you. With you saying that, it's like, wow. Subconsciously, we don't even know we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the readability, I mean, you need great aesthetics, to present well, but is it accessible? You have people that may be visually impaired, hearing impaired. Is it readable? Is the font, is it the size? Did you choose the right size font? Is it in the right color? if it's too bold, there's a lot of you need good aesthetics for readability, but you need good aesthetics for good aesthetics sake. To
Right.
keep people, you want to draw them in, but you want it to be functional. Also, simple. I like simple, clean, to the point. I like a little zhuzh, is what I call it here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely functionality, aesthetics, but they need to be functional.
And I want to also ask you, and this is not a question that I prepared you for, but like, how is it working in a male dominated field for you as, a woman? And not only that, a woman of color, where when I think about web design or coding, it was predominantly white males or Asian male women. It was never really, I didn't really see representation of someone who looked like me. So it's very inspiring to see you and then to know how successful you are with it. But like, how does that feel being in a profession that you're underrepresented in?
Mm. Wow. That's a very good question. What I can say is I can't imagine this, like trying to get into the tech industry 30 years ago as a Black female. You can definitely see it's like I think with anything, you have a group of males that are welcoming and supportive and inviting, and then you have those that are not. So for me, I found that it's best that to surround myself with those males and females that are, and then it's like that lessens the burden of the ones that are not supportive in this field. But I think I think the tide is changing. I think we're finding it seems now it could just be me, I could be wrong, but it seems like that chip, that the males had on their shoulders just in the field, and it's like that's kind of dissipating somewhat. But in anything, I just find for myself that it is a male dominated field. But the more I can surround myself with like-minded people that want to see me do well, that I want to see them do well, that we're all trying to get to the same place, that kind of, I guess, makes it not so bad. It doesn't sting as much.
Mhm.
When you do come across those behaviors and those attitudes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're sticking with it. And I'm glad that you're, showing us representation that you can do this. And more people that look like you are coming into the tech world, a lot more women also as well. So it's very inspiring and it's also encouraging. And I will also use one more word, which is empowering. So all of the things that you represent in the field that you work in, we're very grateful. So if you're just now tuning into Chats with Chantla, thank you so much for joining in. Sorry for the background noise. There's some things going on in the home, but I did not want to wait another week and miss you all. I have missed you for the last few weeks, but we're tuning in with the amazing entrepreneur who works in brand and web design, and it's Nichole Brown, also known as Technical. You want to make sure that you reach out to her. You want to make sure that you're finding her. So you can find her at Technical Design, and she's going to give us her social media handles a little bit later. But we're also going to just ask some questions because tech and coding is really growing, and it's growing from like very tender ages of 5 to people who are 60 plus. It's not just, something that anybody who wants to learn this skill can really learn this skill, and it's very lucrative. But I want to get into some of the terminology because we see this and not everybody knows what it is. So, but what does HTML stand for?
HTML is hypertext markup language. Um, it's a how can I guess to say it in English. It's a markup language, so it tells the browser how to display the text that I've given to it. It's a set of instructions for the browser so how we see. Okay, so I guess everyone can see this screen. So this whatever they see, that HTML language told the browser let it show up like this, basically, in
Oh,
layman's terms. So yeah, it's a hypertext, but it stands for hypertext markup language.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for whoever created HTML. And thank you,
Yes.
Nichole, for being able to understand it and also do it. But what is the difference between the HTML elements versus tags?
So the tags, so the tags are on the outside. The way that when I first learned how to code was the tags are the instructions, and um, the information inside the tags are the elements. And the elements is, so how I broke it down was the tags are the do this, and the element is what's I don't want to put it. The element is what you want to do it too. So if I have a tag that is H1, H1 is the size of text. And then if I have the H1 tag and inside I have today on chats with Chantla, the H1 is the instruction to say, make this sentence the size. So
Oh,
the tag is a set of instructions, I guess, and it's like the who and the what.
I love that. So it's kind of like if you wanted to have a header, you
Yes.
could have a header and then underneath. Oh, okay. So we'll put it in that way. But if you're
Yes.
just now getting in, you're learning a little bit more, just a very surface about some coding. And so a lot of times we'll see HTML if you go into the electronics section or if you're learning something about coding. And that's
Hypertext markup language, which is
markup language.
basically a set of instructions for the browser.
Set of instructions for the browser that told you how to come on Facebook and watch live. So we're here with Chats with Chantla, Nichole Brown, also known as technical. And so we need these individuals who know how to do brand, web design, and code because it is what allows us to go on our social media platforms. It's what allows us to go and do online shopping, which was so important and still is so important during this pandemic as we are trying to recover from it. We need all of it. It teaches us how to see things, buy them, know what the price is, and how to get them to us. But I want to get into some other types of questions in regards to just more about you and what led you here. So, what have been some of your greatest influences that got you to the place you are today?
Oh man. I think for one, seeing the influx of young entrepreneurs. I mean, had I I'm 47. So had I had this knowledge, this space and time at 20, man, I was like, you could be dangerous. So I think seeing these young people take these initiatives, and nothing wrong with the job. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the job, but to see someone be willing to take a chance on themselves and take the initiative to say, you know what, I'm going to give this shot, a shot. The young men and the women. So that's inspiration in itself. Definitely Antoine, of course. I mean, just his story is enough in itself to, I mean, every time, when I would try to learn like JavaScript or Python, and I say, you know what? And then it's, if he can do it, I can do it. Because he didn't have access to Google. I can have access to Google. So, if he can do it, so he's a huge inspiration also.
Yeah. Again, sorry about the background noise, but shout out to Antoine.digital. You can find him on Instagram. Also, you can find more about him through his story on Unlock Academy. It is a Black-owned tech firm, and they will be appearing on Chats with Chantla as well. And so they are teachers and mentors of our featured entrepreneur tonight, Nichole Brown, who has been doing some amazing work in the brand and web design that you want to make sure that you not only are listening to this, so if you're just now jumping in, you want to hit rewind and hit it from the very beginning, but also you want to support her. So you'll be able to get her social media handles shortly, so you're able to support her, but not just support her by clicking on the likes and shares, but also getting her as your web designer so that you can be a client. It's no time, but right now is the best time to reach out to a lot of our small business owners. That's the whole point of Chats with Chantla, to highlight small business owners who are making big impact, and especially Black entrepreneurs. So we're building, connecting, and collaborating. So this is the type of exposure that we need to bring awareness. Also, that awareness pushes you into an action that will eventually hire the entrepreneurs that are featured on here. So I want to keep this amazing conversation going. So Nichole, how has becoming an entrepreneur impacted other areas of your life?
Oh man, you want to learn a lot about yourself? Become an entrepreneur. If you want to learn about, I mean, everything just looks different. I mean, when I cut the water on in the morning, everything looks different. Everything looks
Mhm.
different. You see it from a whole different angle. It was a little scary at first. I think in school we're always taught and prepared to be employees. We're never taught
Right.
and prepared to be employers. So it's like, how do I do this? I don't know how to do this, and it's still clunky. There's times, but I think first and foremost, the just give it if you're brave enough and if you can stand it, give it a shot. But I definitely have learned nothing looks the same. Nothing ever looks the same.
Mhm.
I've learned a lot about myself. Like I said, my tolerances, my weaknesses, my strengths. Sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I need to shut up. I've learned so many things. Man, whew, eh, I couldn't even. We'd be here till next week.
Okay. I love what you're saying. That right there, if you did not get anything out of what this featured entrepreneur has said, it's on the screen. It says taught to be employees, not employers. And that is huge. I have goosebumps. You can't see it, but we're not really taught to be employers. We're definitely taught to work for somebody else's dream. And so when you said that, it's not the easiest thing at 47 to take the leap of faith to become your self-employed, to become an employer, because you're so used to getting that biweekly check, clocking in, clocking out, but you are filling somebody else's dream. So we are, from the time we get into school, we're taught to get a job, do this, do that. We're never really taught to get a business,
Mm-mm,
run a business, make your
at
gifts
all.
work for you, solve problems with your gifts for other people. And I love, Nicole, that you said that. And if you're watching Chats with Chantla, if you have not gotten anything out of that, that is amazing. And Tanya, thank you for saying, clapping and saying okay, because I agree with that okay. And I agree with what you said, Nicole, about taught to be employees, not employers. And I love that. And it's even more taught with Black and Brown people, and not just to bring color and race, race into the conversation, but it's important. It's important. The way that we see the world and the way that the world sees us is not always the same as our. Sorry for all that.
No,
A little bit loud,
no,
but
we love it. We love it. We
and
love it.
thank you for joining into Chats with Chantla. We are on location in my new home, so that noise is our contractor doing some upgrades. So I thank you for celebrating me with the purchase of my new home, and also continuing to be a support and watching and supporting the featured entrepreneurs that happen every Monday at 7 on here on Chats with Chantla. So I'm going to get back and asking Nicole some questions. Laugh with me. How do you market your business? Because you are a web designer. How do you market it?
um, it's so funny that I kind of have to laugh at myself. For Instagram, I guess the usual suspects, social media, Instagram, Facebook. Prior to this, I mean, when I say this is like a complete life change, when my son was in high school, he was in band, and so I used to run their Instagram page, which is easy. The kids are always doing something, so there's like tons of content. They all have something going on, but when it's you, like I love the background, so I'm having to find my way out of the background. But for right now, primarily Instagram and Facebook.
And so you can be found on Instagram with tech_Nicole.
Yes.
So it's right there on the screen. I know you see it because I see it. That is how you can connect with her and just learn more. Just if you are skeptical and you want to learn more about her, this is the perfect way to do it, is to go ahead and follow her on social media. It's free. You're not becoming an instant client, you're becoming a supporter. And also you're educating yourself, you're gaining knowledge. Her content is great, but also just get on her website and just learn more about her. Have a quick chat, find out what you can learn, do the discovery calls to see if you guys mesh in the line that you want to go further, because she has the skill set to make an incredible website that will have clients coming and staying on your website. And that's exactly what it is. That's what you want. It's not so much about just you providing a product, But if you have a great product but don't have a great communication of what your product is on the website, you're kind of working harder than you need to. And that's why you need to connect with our featured entrepreneur, Nichole Brown, also known as Tech Nichole. And that's tech_Nichole. So let me show you that again. And make sure you find her on the social media platforms, especially Instagram. So I just want to ask you, Nichole, how has COVID impacted your business, if any?
Wow. I think more than anything, we found out how important an online presence is, how your website can do the heavy lifting. If you had if you say you were a business owner with a brick and mortar and you had to shut down, your website can literally do the heavy lifting for you. So for me, I think it's made, I think we are more in demand. You have to have, I don't know if businesses, it's hard to fathom that businesses weren't, imagine Macy's, but Macy's without a website. It's hard, but there are businesses that, just starting out and they may not have a website, but we found out how imperative it is to have an online presence. So for me, it's been great. COVID was pretty much the reason why I had lost my job. So this was a perfect, and nothing happens by chance or accident, or it was already designed to be that way. I just didn't know about it, but it could happen at a better time, and I probably shouldn't say that. It's you feel like, what is it, like survivor's remorse, like when you're doing well, but you're doing well, but it's at the result of a calamity, but I just, it's just the timing. I didn't make the calendar. I just had to show up.
Right.
So it's been great. I mean, businesses, and we have really gotten to see, especially with I was just talking with someone the other day about who was it? Skype. Zoom like totally took that over. So we really got to see how tech is. Skype totally could have has like Skype, like, and I'm so competitive. How did you drop this ball?
Right.
So we really got to see how all aspects of tech, whether you front end, back end, engineer, programmer, UX, UI, whatever the case is, anybody that's in tech, I think probably could say that they've had a pretty good year.
Absolutely.
No shortage of work, I put it that way.
Okay, I agree. We were in the homes for the last year, plus, and we still are. We're just now venturing out and doing a little bit more things, but definitely I'm ordering all the time from websites, so I definitely understand that. But thank you for that. And like you said, like you're building up as other people are losing, but and there's loss in the midst of your gain, and that does hit a little bit. But at the same time, I also want to encourage you that what you're doing is so needed in the midst of the loss. So your web design and the things that you're gifted at and the gifts that you're providing are allowing people to be able to get what they need in the midst of a lot of loss. So I hope that makes you feel like purposeful, because so many of us would be even in a greater depth of loss without having people like yourself providing a resource for us to be able to get the things that we need. Even therapy, because now therapy is done virtually, and it took somebody to code that program to be able to do that. So a lot of things that you're doing as a web designer, as a brand, is really helpful and is like priceless to so many people, including myself. But I want to ask you a question, and this question is: if you could work with a celebrity, who would it be and why?
I've always thought, I think Khalees. I've always liked Khalees. I love her.
Me too.
I love her. She's so like, she is like my, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You can go against the grain. You can create your own thing. And I mean, if I like it, who cares? Almost like what's the I don't even know if this is still a thing. You're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day, I think. Like,
I remember that.
Who says who?
Right.
Everything. So I always question everything. Like, says who? If I like it, or even say like Vogue. Like, okay, So who said that this was in style? Who said this was out of style? Who said you can't put this with that? Who said so? So I think Khalees is the epitome of, you know, I don't care who likes it. I like it.
I love her. It's so funny that without knowing, we have a lot of interest in the people,
Mhm.
interested people. I love that, she does a lot of organic things. She's ultimate. She's just absolutely gorgeous inside and out. So it's just she different. Like I'm like she's a farmer. Like she went from bring her milkshake, bringing the boys to the yard to farming.
Yes. Yeah.
Like she's letting I can do both, and I'm bringing not
Yes.
only the milkshake but the milk that it took to make
Yeah.
the milkshake to the yard. So I just think that she's incredible. But again,
Yes.
we would not have been able to find, her without coders. Again, without
Mhm.
web designers like yourself, and without somebody who's making brands come to life through the virtual world, which is again yourself. So Tanya, thank you so much. I think it's a great choice as well, of who she would want to work with. I just think that's incredible. That you said that. I remember.
I've always loved her.
Me too. She was in my inspiration, and it's totally off topic, but I got my hair cut like hers back in the day. It was like the new version, the salt and pepper hairstyle. So I
Yes.
remember, shout out to an amazing person who can cut hair. She is so skilled, Susie Joe in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. You can go in that area, and if your hair is laid, you know that she did it. But she's just gifted in that way. But she was able to bring that vision
Yes.
to life for me, as well. But we all want to help you here on Chats with Chantla. Again, the whole vision and purpose of Chats with Chantla is to bring awareness to Black entrepreneurs who are doing big things and making impact in their communities, also in their lives and the lives of others through the business that they do. We're here to build, connect, and collaborate. So that collaboration, that connection and building you up, how do people connect with you? Because we want to support you. We want to be there with you, for you. We want to help you.
Well, on Instagram, it's tech_Nichole. On Facebook, it's technical design, no underscore, just technical tech, capital TECHNICHOLE, and then design, two separate words on Facebook.
Is capitalized as well on Facebook? Is Nichole capitalized? The N?
No, just the T.
Okay, keep on talking through the noise.
And the website is technicaldesign.com.
Okay. So as I get this up here, you have seen different things that you can connect with her. So you can connect with her through tech_Nichole, Technical Designs on Facebook, and then technicaldesign.com. You do want to connect with her. The thing about it, as you make the connection tonight on Chats with Chantla, and you learn more about the entrepreneurs, but the big way that you help these small businesses grow is connecting, but also collaborating with your dollars. And we need you to be able to do that. We need you to be able to support the featured entrepreneurs, because if you are an entrepreneur yourself or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, you cannot do it without a website. You cannot do it without a website. She said it earlier, how important the online presence is. You need that. COVID, if anything, has taught us to cherish life. There is no guarantee in tomorrow, but also how, if you're an entrepreneur, the importance of an online presence. And I think when you said that was amazing. Also, she left another nugget. We're taught to be employees, not employers. So if you are an entrepreneur, you are doing the latter. You are becoming an employer, not an employee. We were all once that, but many of us really want to become that employer. So with that being said, Nichole, give our viewers who are first-time entrepreneurs or seasoned entrepreneurs like myself some advice. What would you tell us?
First of all, I would say not having a background in business, do not be afraid to invest in quality coaching. YouTube, Google, they're great. They only get you but so far. Do your homework. I mean, there's some people out there that don't have your best interest at heart, but there are some really solid people out there that can fill in the gap. So I think that's first and foremost for me. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Second of all, if you can't get that thing out of your head, kind of weigh it out, uh, weigh weigh out the cost of it, count the cost of it. If it's viable, if it's legitimate, if you can't get it out of your head, go for it. But be smart about it. I would say definitely. Would I love to have this great big office space and this, big like 50-foot Apple monitor? I mean, you don't need the best, the prettiest, the brightest, the shiniest. You don't need that. Just get started. Start with what you have. Understand where you are. Who doesn't want to scale? But it's not going to happen overnight. You have to put in that work, that sweat equity. So definitely, don't be afraid to invest in yourself and the business. Examine, are you even cut out for it? There's some days that it's like, you know what, I'm going to look for a job. And then there's some days it's like, you know what, nope, 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 nope. I'm tougher than this. So definitely don't be afraid to be the new guy. Like, who wants to be the new guy? I hate being the new guy. But don't be afraid to be the new guy and make those mistakes. Nobody starts off with it all together, with all the answers. So definitely don't be afraid to be where you are. Don't be ashamed of being new and being where you are. I had a somewhat of an issue, and I guess in the beginning at 47, there's all these, these young 20-something, 30-something graphic designers, web designers that are top notch. And it's like, here I am, like I'm this old lady. I'm trying to come into this arena, step into the game, and I'm like years behind, but forget about that. It's I have something to offer. I have something to bring to the table. I just got to put it out there. So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. That's the other thing. Do you. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Don't look at their content. Don't see what they're talking about. Do you. Focus on you. Do what works for you.
I love that. So many of us are not doing us, that we're too busy, doing what they think we should be. And we miss out on like living our best life. I think sometimes living your best life has nothing to do about the possessions you have. It's what you're giving out to the world, and that's very important. A lot of times people have that twisted. And, we really have to examine, like you said, examine yourself, make the investment in yourself. That investment can be as small as getting a book. That investment can be as small as getting up a little bit earlier to watch a YouTube video in the industry you passionately want to work in. Somebody has to be the new girl or the new guy, as Nichole said. So these aren't my thoughts. These are things that Nichole has said and takeaways that you really need to think about, and think about what she's done, how this story of her journey into entrepreneurship has inspired you. And if you're just now joining in with Chats with Chantla, it's never too late. Hit the replay button, and go back and watch it from the very beginning and hear all the nuggets and takeaway that our featured entrepreneur, Nichole Brown, also known as Tech Nichole, has shared with us. And you can find her on at technicoledesign.com, Tech Nichole Design on Facebook, and tech_Nichole on Instagram. And Tanya, you are absolutely right. She's not too old. She said, you mean mature lady. That's absolutely right.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya.
And so we adore that. And thank you so much, Tanya, for just being a supporter and watching and supporting Chats with Chantla every Monday here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. But Nichole, I'm going to allow you to give some final words to our viewers. So I'm going to just take myself off the screen. I'll be right back when I see you concluding with your words. But I want everyone to focus on the words that Nichole, our featured entrepreneur, is going to provide to you at this time.
Wow. Well, I want to first and foremost, I would like to thank Chantla. This is such a huge opportunity. I really thank you for having this, providing this this space and this time. It's so needed, and just the fact that you are interested in what entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs have to say, and hearing us. I really so appreciate that. As far as everyone else out there watching, I thank you so much for being here. Please feel free to hit me up on social. Tech Nichole on IG, tech_Nichole. Technical Design .com is the website, and On Facebook. Please feel free to hit me up. I'm very approachable. Any questions you have, you can DM me. Um, in the market for web design, we could talk about that also. But it's been a pleasure being here with you guys, and thank you so much.
It has been an amazing pleasure being with you. It is just refreshing. I'm so glad that you said yes to the opportunity to collaborate with me.
Who can say
So,
no? How can I say no? Never
you
tell
know,
you no. I told you I
oh,
can never tell you no.
oh, thank you. And that is, I feel the same way. I think, like-minded people, kindred spirits definitely agree and align with each other. But it has been such a pleasure. I've learned so much even more about you as an entrepreneur that makes me even more proud of all the work that you're doing and all the things that I know that are coming in store for you in the future. So thank you for the welcome back episode of Chats with Chantla and it being you. So I want everyone to know that we have consistent entrepreneurs coming up for the next few months here on Chats with Chantla. So you want to make sure you stay tuned for next week for another awesome episode of Chats with Chantla with another amazing entrepreneur. So Nichole, thank you so much for joining me on tonight's episode of Chats with Chantla. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching.